Hello everyone, here we are, another midweek clash in Scrim Central. I'm here with my new buddy, I hope to be, with Mr. Cloudburst here. Introduce yourself.
I'm Cloudburst. I've been doing casting for a while. I've just gotten off of Open Division and now here to do some scrims with Mr. Classy here.
Yes, well, I mean, that is me indeed. I'm a little bit more of a familiar face, but still, I mean, there's never enough casting to do. Today we've got two teams going up against each other. We have Swiss team and Ghost of Pripyat. It's a long name. I've taken out the spaces in the win screen, so if you see them win, don't be alarmed. It is a long name. You can also, you know, we would probably refer to them as Ghosts at this point. Yeah, it's a fun lineup. I think Swiss team is a bit newer. Ghost Pripyat I've definitely seen before. I've actually casted them before in April, so they've definitely been together for a bit longer. But the others, not entirely sure.
Yeah, it seems like the Swiss team is actually quite a new team. I mean, this Swiss team is actually just their temporary name, so I might be able to swing in a bit there with name pending for now. I'm interested to see, because I mean, there's varying skill levels here. There's varying playstyles that we might see come out, so it's gonna be quite an interesting one over here.
It is, I mean, but that's what we're here for, to see interesting matches here. So, essentially, these teams are scrimming. You know, that's the point of the Scrim Central Midweek Madness stream. They're just going to be scrimming. So, Cough maps will be best of 5, so they actually play all 3 points, even if one team wins all 3 of them. But yeah, there's a lot of other things that are just, you know, normal. It's still no competitive rule set, so it's still, you know, both team attacking and defending. Yeah, it is a competitive environment, but they might just do a little bit more experimental things, and that's what you like to see. And especially with, you know, all these new things that shake up the meta. They might even play Torb. I mean, hey, it's a thing. We don't play it in competitive just yet, but they might in the scrim. I've actually
definitely see a Torb come out.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the teams actually has a Torb main. So if I'm not mistaken, that is actually Hates, who's in the lobby right now. He has the Torbjorn icon on that you can't see, but he's there. And he's supposedly someone that came over from PS4 and is now doing very well on well, yeah, on this PC thing that he's discovered apparently.
Yeah, that's an interesting one as well, trying to kind of translate your skills in a console environment and take that through to PC. So I'm interested to see what he can do. Looking at his hero pool for this current competitive season, he's been very much leaning on that main tank. But I mean, it's going to be interesting here. I mean, what we have listed here from the teams is that mostly uses a sub for OGR and DPS, Torb specialist. So you weren't joking there at all.
No, that's I mean, you know, I don't mind it. Like literally, Torb, he's in the game now. He's been reworked. I don't know if he's good on any map just yet, but he's definitely gonna bring a lot of changes to the thing. Same thing with Farah though, and like the new Farah changes make her a higher skill ceiling, but also a higher skill floor hero. So it's harder to actually hit targets because you have to hit directs in order to actually win, or like to hit targets. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you get more damage when you hit directs. That's basically what it is. So the overall damage is good, and we're gonna see it in the first map. I think on we might be going into Nepal here. Sorry,
so,
yeah, we are going into Nepal.
Yeah, just talking about Farah. Moving into Nepal is going to be an interesting one once we go over to Sanctum. Having those environmental kill potentials to be quite exciting. But of course, Village up first.
Yeah, Village is up first. Village has been seeing a lot of May lately, and I do see DaWae really already queuing up for it. You'll see that in a little bit, because we still obviously have this lovely map intro first. But yeah, May's been very good, because teams will just stand in the point, especially with this whole goats thing, the heavy pressure of Brigitte as well. Just stand on point, don't move, wall the team out to one side, kill the other side, then, you know, rinse and repeat every single time. And that ult obviously just covers the entire point on Village as well. So that is a strat that people very much adopted. Some teams don't like it, but it seems both of these teams do in fact want to adopt this. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what that brings to the table, what that brings to the actual game that we're in.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to goats, something that I always find is very important, or less goats, more just any kind of triple tank, triple support composition, which we can see the script kind of being flipped a little bit on the blue side over here from Swiss team, but having an Ana is such a strong utilization of a character because of that Bartek Grenade being able to stop healing, and these compositions basically work exclusively on their healing and close combat. But also Metal Storm over on the McCree, this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're on the point here, and they're going to be brawling it out here. So take it away, Clout.
Yeah, well, right away on the fight, we do see both balls coming out from Maze, respectively, from both sides. We do see FlawlessWins is going to be the first one going down on the Ana, and Metal Storm picking up a 2k, looking pretty good here, as we do see, even after picking up a 2k, the fight is still very contested, as we see the point slowly but surely switching over to Swiss team, but now we have the whole squad moving back in. Hate getting a very important stun, but getting taken completely out of there by the main wall from Geo, and there we have it, Swiss team getting the first capture on that point and just cleaning things up as we have to have their opposition regroup.
Yeah, I mean, Swiss team take that very well. I think the walls both came out relatively at the same time, but the positioning was just a little bit better from Swiss team, making sure that they all were together and not split off by the walls at all. Where MrFizz was just a little bit out of position, got brought down. Yeah, I mean, that kind of takes away a lot of the points of this Goats comp, where if you don't have that main shield, you're going to take a lot of spam damage, and even, you know, Ana, Lucio, and Break together will not be able to heal it up at some point.
I do like opting in for the McCree here, but looking at the ultimates coming up, having a Lucio and a Brigitte ultimate, Rally should be popping out very soon from Hate as they enter into this fight. Straight away, Mabel comes out not in the best positioning, and it makes it very difficult for everyone to see, but Nano boosted, Reinhardt charging right in there, Earthshatter not landing on anyone. Victor not too happy about that one, as we do see little by little goes to Pripyat kind of improving here, but here we have High Noon getting completely shut out by that wall whilst all of them were in the grab. What a lovely play, but it's not enough. The High Noon still comes through and gets a 2k.
I mean, I don't know if the high noon was especially necessary there, but it's a nice finish to a fight. You know, you're done there. No more enemies. You can just set up for the next one. And this time, Geoffio thinks there might be coming mid, so he's there with that wall. But yeah, I think they're not as practiced on the Mei on the side of Ghost of Pripyat, because you did see that Mei wall of Swiss team just being a little bit better there. Just Geoffio definitely have maybe some more practice time on that. And that just is a very big decider when you go up Mei versus Mei here.
It definitely is, but looking at coming into the next fight here, completely changing up the team composition. DaWae moving over to the Pharah for that aerial superiority, but that's a big Mei wall. They're going to hopefully pick something up. We do see a Graviton Surge coming out right on top of Ghost of Pripyat. Oh wow, Earthshatter coming in, not managed to find enough though. And once again, we see Metal Storm popping off on the McCree here, as they're looking to keep this point quite convincingly.
Yeah, this is... it wasn't really that close of a point here. There were very convincing fights by Swiss team. That doesn't say anything for the rest of the series though, because of course, you know, control point has been the point that is. It's one of those things where one team can just completely stomp it and then lose all other 3 maps. That's actually what happened to the actual team of Switzerland in the World Cup as well. They won all their control point maps, but everything else they lost. So that was a bit of a shame. But yeah, going over here to Sanctum is, like you said, maybe Pharah will actually be a bigger deal here. She has been played from time to time here, but most teams will often opt for this Roadhog Orisa combo, which both teams again look set up for here, just because of the fact that you can just pull people in that lovely hole where they say Zenyatta's treasure hides. But Hate will be on this Torbjorn, so let's see if this Swedish dwarf can get anything done against the Swiss attackers or defenders, depending on the point status.
Also an interesting point here, Soldier 76 on both sides, and that's going to make it very tough for Geo and Daffy Duck to stay alive in the skies here, as we see both teams barraging each other down. Metal Storm does pick up the turret from Hate. They need to start moving forward to the point, as we are 8 seconds away from it unlocking.
Now we do see the shield position of Victor being a little bit dominant as opposed to the one on the other side.
Mango picks up Victor.
Boots off.
Yeah, that's a very good pick for them, but they still have to watch out for the Pharah in the skies right now. Mango playing very aggressive into their backline and directly onto the point. It looks like we're going to see Ghost of Pripyat picking this up first, but we can't say just yet. Takayuki trying his best. Mapo almost taken completely off the point, manages to just get out by the skin of his teeth, and this is going to be quite the drawn-out fight for both teams. Oh wait, that's a big pick for Metal Storm.
I mean, that Lucio being gone has a lot of boot potential away, but they still have a hook, they still have a, well, hold for Orisa. And Rodok in that little room over there can stay alive for very long. Just hooks Metalstorm towards it, but doesn't survive it afterwards.
Yeah, that's a very big struggle there, trying to get through that. But here, attack fires are coming out alongside a nano boost. He's looking to shred down the side of Swiss team. And oh my word, what a lovely halt coming in from the side of MrFizz, just cleaning that one up.
MrFizz definitely looking very comfortable on this Orisa pick here. Hasn't died as of yet. Yeah, shield positioning, being aggressive when he needs to, sometimes the right halts. This is it's very important when you have an Orisa v Orisa battle that you win those engages, but those halts are the big difference maker, I feel.
And what a lovely pick from Geo, which is so well executed. Moved the soldier right into the missiles, and here we go, Molten Core coming out from Torbjorn. He's trying to keep their team out of it and makes it quite difficult for them to enter in, but they seem to be moving through regardless.
You hate to see that Mapo just being corralled into a corner by that big ult from Eneliam 600 here. And they still haven't taken the point here. There's some stall going on. Mango, very annoying. Lucio, of course, does have to back out. Hate gets hooked off the cliff. MrFizz does survive. There looks to be a done deal here.
Oh, but attack fires coming out from Metalstorm. He's still looking for something. He finds DaWae. Geo picks up another 2. And here we have the point going off to Swiss team.
Metalstorm showing him that he also knows the way with his tech visor. But yeah, I mean, hey, MrFizz now going off to the Winston, does not want to recontest with the Orisa. So this might be a complete switch up, especially if Hate goes to the Genji as well. This is a very easy to see teams do this often. You don't want to push into the Orisa Hog with the Orisa Hog.
Oh, so DaWae popping up the attack visor as we do see Rocket Barrage coming out. He does get taken out. Oh, DaWae's off the point. Victor lands a fantastic ult, and both teams kind of at parity in this fight as we do see Mapo coming in with his whole hog. He's hoping to get some kills. He gets nano boosted as well. Almost booped off the edge, but he's still alive. Daffy Duck managed to get right back into that, but the rest of his team has fallen as we do see NLM 600 getting booped off.
Oh, do they get it? They do manage to flip the point here. Actually, we used to see DaWae coming back to with the Tracer, so the only non-dive component here is the Roadhog, and I do like him on this point, but if you're gonna go full dive, then at least go full dive, you know, like just pick the Diva. He was out of spawn, I do recognize that. Maybe he's not that comfortable with it. But they're gonna be able to touch here. That is very important to tanks and Lucio on points with that speed boost, but will they be able to actually get some kills here, because they do need them.
They urgently do, but Victor getting knocked off first thing is spelling doom for Swiss team, not having their main tank on this point. Metalstorm also no longer with them. I think this is going to go straight to Ghost of Pripyat.
Yeah, that's actually it. Yeah, so they're tying it up 1-1 on this control point of Nepal. This is a very fun point to watch. I mean, both teams really switching up strategies here and there. We have the Rodok Orisa coming out from the start of both of them, but as soon as Ghost of Pripyat lost that point, they just didn't want to go with that. Because you want to have that hard engage. You don't want to be slowly advancing with the shield, because that's where the enemy team generally just wins, because they are able to pressure your shield earlier. They just have that defensive ability to just back off. You kind of just got to flow over them with that Orisa, and that's why they switched to Winston and the Genji, and even the Tracer was actually very good. And I understand DaWae just wanted to use his attack visor first. Now, Shrine is the point where we also see a lot of fire usually, but instead they're going to go with Doomfist Sombra on the side of the Ghost of Pripyat, and with a however, take out the Pharah on the side of the Swiss team with that McCree. So they both have the Pharah and the anti-aerial, but there is no aerial that goes to Pripyat, so let's see if he sticks with that McCree for now.
Very interesting team comps, but can they execute it properly against a solid composition over on the side of Swiss team? We do see both teams kind of fighting it out here on the point. Point still hasn't unlocked, charging in. Not quite enough. Mango falling down to Geo. And here we go, Doomfist charging right in the Hate, wants to try find some picks, but he's struggling quite a bit as we do see a big bubble go to Victor, and he is going to be kept alive. But right now, on the point, it's Ghost of Pripyat who look to be ticking over here as Victor goes down as the main tank on the Swiss team. They need to get that res on him if possible, but Hate is looking for blood, and there might just be a reset for Swiss team.
It might be. I mean, they are going back and forth. Jalfio actually takes out Hate in the end, and Hate was being very annoying to them. But in the end, it's just FlawlessWins and Mango. You know, the support's actually being very bloodthirsty on the sides of Ghost of Pripyat here. We already saw it on the last point, actually. Mango doing a very good job of just consistently booping people off the map. But it looks to be very comfortable here. And FlawlessWins that Ana knows exactly how far back and how far forward he can go. So, yeah, we're seeing a good first point here. And DoomFizz Sombra, that's a combination I haven't seen that much lately. But it's supposedly very good, although Hate does get taken out there very quickly.
Hate just demolished going up there, and right now they still have aerial superiority. Geo looking for something that gets taken up by DaWae, and now Primal Rage is going to be popped off from the side of MrFizz. Gravitron Surge comes out as well. That's going to spell doom for Swiss team.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see that happening, really. I mean, sure, they took out a DoomFizz straight away, but then their Pharah was basically taken down by FlawlessWins there. I think together with DaWae, actually, maybe on the Sombra. But yeah, that Graviton just, you know, it closes out everything. And now they have an EMP, and a Meteor Strike, and a Nano Boost. Sound Barrier's coming up. And sure, they have some ammunition on the side of Swiss team. But, you know, they have to actually not use everything in order to be able to defend after they capture points.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for them, but right away we do see Silent Barrier coming out, and that's an EMP with a Meteor Strike picking up a 2k and cleaning out that fight already. Oh my, man of class, what do you think of this one?
I mean, it was a very quick fight, and you see 4 ultimates being used on the site there. So, it's EMP, it is Meteor Strike. We have a very good combo. I mean, they got 2 picks with it immediately, and if the rest is still hacked, you can get it. But they also use a Sound Barrier and the Nano Boost. So, the question is whether they still will have enough to defend here against these 3 ultimates coming up inside the Swiss team. And they do want them here.
They really do, moving in with a lot of velocity. Geo picks up Flawless, and there we go. Graviton Surge comes out and comboed with that Rocket Barrage. That's going to clean it out in overtime, and Team Swiss are turning it around.
Yeah, they still have that Shatter. I mean, they might have used it had Victor not died. But, I mean, they'll have it for this fight regardless. Now, we do actually see some swaps coming out. Hate going out to the McCree. MrFizz was already on the Winston. He's not going over to anything. But it was a very beautiful anti-nade from Daffy Duck especially. Like, sure, they will get grabbed, but if that anti-nade doesn't come in, they might be able to be healed or something through that, and they just weren't. So that was a very clean grab there.
Oh, Dragon Strike, I love that swap over to Hanzo. Actually seeing the ult come out so soon is very important going into this fight right now, as they are staring down overtime. Mango gets an early pick onto Metal Storm. Here we go, Primal Rage going right through the rafters, and there's a bit of struggle as he is biotic grenaded here. He's just kind of slamming on Victor right now. Hate picks up Takayuki in the fray, and it's looking very good for Ghost of Pripyat right now, hoping to take out Nepal, as they're chasing down Geo, going for the health there. Not enough. That's it.
I mean, they're fine here. You're just letting the fight drag on. They know you just need to win one fight. They do that very cleanly. And then Mango's going for those aggressive picks here. He's going after the Hanzo, yeah. Like I said, the supports really don't want to stop killing.
I just absolutely love seeing what Mango can do on this Lucio. He's able to do so much on Lucio, and you don't see that too often, but I have never seen a Lucio this mobile in a scrim. He is getting into the faces and the minds of Swiss team.
Yeah. I mean, we are going to go back to the lobby here, because, you know, they played all the points, obviously. Yeah, I mean, it's for practice purposes, if everyone's confused. But, yeah, that was a 2-1, so we are definitely putting up the score 1 for Ghost of Pripyat here. Yeah, I mean, what did you personally think? Like, what was something you found surprising or fun to see from both of these teams?
So just an overview with seeing how well Swiss team did on the first portion of Nepal on Village. They really played it. They seemed like they really knew what they were doing in comparison to Ghost of Pripyat. But coming to Sanctum and then Shrine, they just completely turned it around, and Ghosts just showed up really, really well, and coming out with quite interesting team compositions as well that you usually wouldn't see there. I was surprised not to see any form of trip tank, trip support going into both Sanctum and Shrine, because you do still often see it, but instead they're going for interesting compositions. They wanted the environmental kills on Sanctum. Over on Shrine, you could see the DoomFizz Sombra, and that worked so well for them, and they were able to really bring it out. And I think one of the things we need to look at is both teams have a Lucio and an Ana player. And I think that the supports on the side of Ghost of Pripyat are, at the moment, actually walking over the supports of Swiss teams. So I think they need to find a way to kind of counter that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we saw a lot of different heroes being played. I think mostly the first point, like Village, was mostly down to the fact that there wasn't the May matchup just wasn't even. Like the Swiss team definitely had that May matchup in the pocket, and I think just that strat holding on for that a little bit too long, decided to go to Pripyat. Always had them at an old disadvantage. Always had them at positional disadvantage, and if in the end they just couldn't make the switches quick enough in order to deal with that. But that's what it's a scrim for. I mean, now they know that they either need to work on that, or we need to work on countering that with something else, and that, you know, that's good to see. Now we are obviously ready for the next map, which is going to be King's Row. Actually, you know, the good old classic King's Row that everyone knows and loves. Yeah, I mean, what I personally really like about the map is obviously that I think it's probably the most balanced map. Although lately I have really seen that basically, especially on higher level, both teams will just push it to the end and you get like these crazy overtime pushes going. If it's actually like a fair and even matchup, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see if both of these teams actually hold true to that tradition, because it is obviously not something that everyone really agrees on. Although most people do agree that King's Row is one of the best maps in Overwatch, if not the best map. And it's one of the OG ones. I mean, everyone knows it.
Yeah, it's been around since the very beginning. There's been a cinematic about it as well. It has to be one of the kind of hallmark maps for Overwatch that when you think about Overwatch, you think about King's Row. You definitely do.
Hey, a lot of people do. Now, what I do want to quickly note here is, I mean, you're not going to see this on the screen just yet, but we're loading into the maps a little bit quicker now. I mean, you do get a minute to assemble your team, but it's only 45 seconds to set up, and that's actually quite a big difference, because 15 seconds, that's the difference between, for instance, on Temple of Anubis for a maze strat, you know, setting up on that bird's nest. And yeah, that can, some teams are really put off by that, and you don't really notice it. I mean, in competitive games that I've played, I've personally definitely noticed it, because you have a lot less time to actually, you know, be mad at your teammates for picking the wrong stuff. But yeah, it does happen. Now we do see Ghost of Pripyat here setting up on an attack with what seems to be a triple tank with a Winston Reinhardt. Yeah, they do actually stick with that, so that's going to be interesting. And the defense is going to be, it's a fairly standard one. You know, Rein Zarya, Junkrat, Hanzo.
Yeah, and DaWae switching over to the Brigitte. A bit of a reverse strategy from what we saw from Gladiators in the Overwatch League. And here we have, right away, whoa! Hate going flying over on the Reinhardt, but he actually picked up Takayuki in that, and they're looking very strong on the first point to King's Row, as you can just see Enelia, oh my word, that name is hard to say, just backing off here.
No, but it's interesting to see, because Mango went down straight away to a fire strike of Victor. And normally you would obviously say, oh, that fight's over. I mean, or at least it's not really a fight. You're just going to wait and like stall or stagger or just reset or whatever. But they had two more supports, because DaWae and FlawlessWins are on the Ana and the Brigade. So they figured, you know, why not just go in? What I'm mostly very impressed by is the ult charge on Mapo. I mean, that was like a 20-second fight, and he's basically got his grab already, and that's good to see from Zarya.
Yeah, you can see he's pretty much full charge in the situation. MrFizz so close to death, and he does get picked up. Victor really needs to get that kill. That's a nice Earth Shatter. Kind of nullifies a bit of what this grab has done to them. Just kidding. Hate charging in right away, just underneath that rally, coming in from the side of DaWae, and they just completely dominate that fight.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying watching this a lot, because they do play very aggressive, and it is coming hard on the side of the Swiss team. It was a very beautiful anti-hit actually from Daffy Duck, because he completely denied all the benefits from the nano on MrFizz, because he was 1 health, and normally you nano the Winston, you get 300 plus health on damage reduction. You know, you can't really turn around that fight. But MrFizz was on 1 health, got anti-nated, then got nanoed, so he didn't get any heal benefits, just got taken out by a fire strike. So yeah, even though that happened, they still lost the fight, but it was a good moment from Daffy there.
I do like seeing Metal Storm switching over to the Reaper here to counter the composition, but having a very rough time as Takayuki gets taken out regardless. This Primal Rage is doing a lot of work underneath the side of MrFizz, and this looks like they're going to be able to get this point all the way there, unless they get contested very, very soon. But Swiss team backing off.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see that the Swiss team doesn't really know what to do here. Or they don't seem to know what they're doing here. They're just waiting around. They just even get grabbed. Another 2 people are going to die here.
Oh, wow. See, that is such a difficult... Well, Metalstorm still picks up 2 on his own, though, but they're just not contesting the point at the moment. I mean, that's a lot of kills, but this point is still moving.
I think they had to do that. I think you have to do it at some point because they invested another Graviton, and if you keep staggering your team and don't do any damage in return, you're just gonna get immediately pushed to that last point. So they're stopping them at this first corner, maybe the second corner, but at least they have a position to hold from, and they have a lot of ultimates to do it with. So I don't mind that Death Blossom being invested at all.
I think Death Blossom was very well played coming in from Metalstorm. Oh my word, that Earth Shadow pretty much denied from Hate there. Geo following up with a Rocket Barrage, having a rough time kind of off the map here, gets the jump jets to get back into it. Daffy Duck picks up Hate, and there we go. We do see Mango nano boosted between a rock and a hard place in Takayuki and Victor, managing to get out regardless, but Swiss team have won that fight.
Yeah, they won the fight. They didn't even have to invest a lot there. It's actually just the barrage to grab in the rally. I mean, that sounds like a lot, but they convincingly won the fight. I don't think they lost anyone. Oh, they lost Metalstorm, actually. But they'll have another 3. They might even go for a Beyblade. That's something I haven't seen in a while.
Alright, that's back in, what, Season 2, Season 3?
The first World Cup was the Beyblade meta, actually. So that was 2016.
Okay, so here we have Sound Barrier has come out on the side of Ghost of Pripyat. They're charging right in. Victor does have a nice nano boost though, and here we go. There is the Death Blossom, only picking up DaWae as Metalstorm does fall. Geo picks up Mango, and looks like MrFizz is probably the last straggler alongside Mapo, and gets taken out of the fight, but still managing to push the payload.
Well, I mean, they can't push fully. Like, they can't make a full push here because they did lose a few team members. Most importantly is support, and I think one of the DPS as well. So you're kind of missing a lot of pressure that you could otherwise push up. But they are on this double sniper now. Hate actually going over to the Hanzo. Swiss team able to push him back though, and that is yeah, that's gonna be another reset. They still have 3 minutes. I mean, they have the time to push it. So yeah. Let's see if this new strategy for them pays out, because they will have a Graph Dragon coming up pretty soon, with Map already having their Graph, and Hate being on Hanzo, who just charges his ult ridiculously fast nowadays. Yeah.
That's very true.
let's go. Let's see this play happening.
Yeah, let's see what they can do. Surprisingly, not seeing a D.Va come out to kind of counter these grabs. Here we go. Is this going to be the combo, or they're not even going to utilize the Dragon? Dragon is up now, but they already picked up 2 kills. MrFizz does fall out of the front line. That could make it a bit difficult. As you do see Takayuki nano boosted in the front line over here on the side of Swiss team. It's not enough. Mapo, that full charge, and DaWae in the high ground on that Widow, picking up kills.
But again, a very beautiful anti-nade from Daffy, taking MrFizz to 1 health, then anti-nading him, and then he was nanoed. So again, not getting any benefit from that. Doesn't really seem to matter though. Oh, the shatter through the payload.
Oh wow, that's a lovely shadow. It's only 2 players, but it really holds them back. As we do see Metalstorm goes down. He stayed alive for quite a while. Daffy Duck trying to keep Enelia alive as much as possible. Here comes the grab on the side of Swiss team. What are they going to follow it up with? There's a Rocket Barrage. Not managing to get much because Mango picks up Geo out of the sky. And Mapo switching over to the Tracer. It's really working for them. MrFizz is going to be getting that nano boost right now. And this might just close out the game. Or the round. Let me not get ahead of myself here.
Oh, that's definitely not a game closer just yet, but it's I mean, it's a solid time. I mean, 2 minutes. It's something you can work with. But like I said, there's been a lot of instances of teams just going back and forth on King's Row lately. So we'll have to see if this is another one of those games. Now, what I've seen happen a lot is whenever there's a full 6-on-6 fight, it usually goes in the favor of Ghost of Pripyat. It kind of makes sense, you know. They're a team that, you know, has been a while for together for a lot longer than Swiss team has, and you know that coordination, etc. would probably be better. But when these fights, you know, spread out, but you know they're divided in 2 or 3 or even 4 different parts, or even all 1v1s essentially, then you can just see that Swiss team is not. I mean, their players aren't any worse than on the side of Ghost of Pripyat. You see these 1v1s go down, and you just know that, well, you know, one of the teams will definitely be, we'll have the mechanically more skilled players. And when the team fights break out into smaller groups, that's when coordination kind of drops, because there's not a lot of target focus going on. There's a lot of people, you know, maybe 2 or 3 people talking together, and everyone talks together, you know, no one really hears anything. So that's where just mechanics and just game sense come in, and you do see that Swiss team shows a lot of promise in that area, because whenever those team fights split up, that's where they show that they can actually win a lot of these engages. Now they will attack themselves. They will attack themselves with a it's not really a ghost comp here, it's actually a 2-2-2 with Hanzo Sombra and a Lucio Moira. Sombra's probably used to scout out. She actually looked, and they have an Orisa combo, which has been a fairly standard one. The only thing different about this is that it's an Ana instead of a Mercy now. Other than that, very familiar.
Especially with Hate on the Junkrat here. Going to play a bit of a gatekeeper with those grenades. They have to play quite careful, but here we have a very interesting quad tank composition to move into this one, kind of nullifying their composition. I like seeing this counterplay as we do see a dive into the high ground from Metalstorm, picking up Mango. Can he also pick up Hate in the situation? And he does through Takayuki. And this is looking very good for Swiss team, but we're going to see Ghost of Pripyat jumping down any second now.
Yeah, he's going to be stalling for time here, really. There's no way they're going to be able to hold this. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of time. Time can matter. I mean, this could be the few seconds that they have just before overtime at the end of the map. You never know.
And Hate is still going into this.
Yeah, I mean, Hate going up the Tracer. Don't know if he will stick to that. He might have to run all the way back to his new spawn to switch back. He's going to stick with the Tracer Sombra for a bit, so a lot of flanking burst damage here for the side of Ghost of Pripyat. Not a lot of frontline pressure, though. That is to be said.
I must say, what we were talking about earlier with the different map types and how different teams excel at them, you can see Swiss team looking quite strong on King's Row right now compared to what we saw in Nepal.
Well, I mean, you know, very contrary to what happens on control points, King of the Hill, any other map type really allows you to be more strategic. Hybrid is the second most strategic. I'd say 2CP is the most strategic of them all, and then you have Escort, which is, I mean, it's a little more fluid, so strategy is sometimes a bit difficult there, because you can get rolled very hard.
Okay, here we go. Coalescence coming out from Daffy Duck. He's hoping to get something out of this, but Victor lands a 5-man shatter. Can they capitalize off of this one? As we do see MrFizz giving a bit of trouble. He does land the charge, and we do see Victor go down. This is very dangerous for Swiss team as the fight is being split up a little bit. It does look like they're winning this one, but there's an EMP coming out from the side of DaWae, followed up with a shatter as well from MrFizz. And this is them turning the fight around completely. I love the patience coming out from them, man of class.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you gotta know your way around some EMPs with Sombra, and if you, like I said, the coordination is very important. Because I know what a lot of you are thinking. Sometimes this Sombra isn't competitive. They throw the EMP, none of your team is there. Well, this is what happens if your team is there. So if you play Sombra, make sure your team is there to have some follow-up, because you're not going to do it on your own. They are going to go in hard now. They just run back in. But there's the grab and the barrage combo.
Both grabs, self-stuck coming out, not able to find anyone. MrFizz shielding off his team. Hate picking up a 2K out in the backline on the Pharah swap here. And Mango switching off of the immobiles in the other, going back to his Lucio pick. And now they're looking very strong.
Yeah, that was a very good hold. And again, like you said, it's the thing that happens on Escort, happens on hybrid maps, where teams just snowball, and they've stopped the snowball. So this is just they stopped the snowball earlier than Swiss team had. They stopped it on the 3rd point, and now Swiss team has to find a way to break this new defensive hold that's Ghost of Pripyat have set up here. Victor going forward though with the rest of his team. I think they only have a Widowmaker, like Metalstorm, that's trying to be in the back line.
Oh, wow, Hate coming in with Rocket Barrage, picking up 2 players, but Metalstorm picks up Flawless, cracking out the back there. But once again, Ghost of Pripyat looking so good, and they still have another 2 ults for the next fight.
I'm trying to figure out where Metalstorm was, but I think he went all the way through the right side for the attacking team. And then just managed to get a snipe off, because DaWae was just on the high ground zoning out that Widowmaker. So they might have to be a little more careful about their engages there. They are on a, well, it's almost a ghost comp really. They're just missing their 3rd tank, but Metalstorm prefers the Widowmaker apparently. The defense still has Sombra where they get an EMP, so this is going to be very hard for them to engage into.
They're struggling a lot with Hate in the skies. Hopefully Metalstorm can end that. but the positioning is really where they need to get creative. And there we go once again, Earth Shadow and EMP, they only knocked down one player though. This could be where there's a turnaround for the Swiss team as we do see Coalescence only ending now. This is where things can turn around once again. We do hear Infrasight coming out from the side of Metalstorm. He's looking to pick up Hate, but at the moment, FlawlessWins does not want to let him go down at all.
No, FlawlessWins has been doing a very good job on all this healing, but you know, you just see Mango scouting out a little bit on the high ground and all that stuff going on. So Widow not getting a lot of space here. But there goes the Grab Barrage.
That Rocket Barrage working extremely well there, just off the back of a sound barrier from Mango. And that's them clearing out the fight with only a minute 10 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, it's very important as well they use that sound barrier, otherwise Hate might just get sniped out of the air by Metalstorm before the barrage even, well, hits like 3 rockets. Out of a possible, what is it, 40 or something? Oh, they go deep for Takayuki. That's actually a very good stagger.
Oh, I love what DaWae is doing here, and they still haven't noticed him just yet. They need to be quite careful because this could be a bit of a problem. I think Brigitte on the side of Geo has seen him now. Metalstorm swapping over to this McCree, hoping to capitalize off of the sharpshooter.
I think it's better to run with the McCree here, because he's actually someone that can stick with the rest of his team, whereas Widowmaker just kind of had to stand back. Almost gets DaWae, but DaWae gets away.
Coalescence coming out once again from Daffy Duck. They want to do something, but the hacks coming out from DaWae is just too much for them, allowing for Mapo to pick that one up. Graviton Surge coming out, they need to follow up on that, and they weren't quite able to. Geo in a very precarious situation and gets taken out by Mapo. Hate applying a lot of damage from the skies. Daffy Duck picks up Flawless. Them losing that honor could be the entrance they need, but Hate follows up and takes out Takayuki, and Mango with Hate just clearing up their support line. Sound Barrier comes out to clear out the fight, and there you have it. King's Road goes to Pripyat.
Yeah, and it looked very good for the Swiss team for quite a while, but they lost one fight that they maybe shouldn't have lost, and then they maybe overcommitted a few ultimates in there, and it kind of all unraveled from there. They just couldn't get in any further anymore. They kind of didn't know what to do about the Pharah, what they needed to do about the Sombra. And sure, the McCree came in the end, might be a bit late. They could have maybe gone for a dive here. There was a lot of things they could have maybe done, but in the end, they just didn't do the right things. Yeah, then you lose the map, really. Now,
just not able to get that extra 10% that they needed.
No, very true, very true. Now, this is King's Row, even King's Row, because King's Row has been a map where everyone just keeps running Reinhardt, so it's very understandable that Victor stays on that Reinhardt. But what you saw Ghost Pripyat doing on their attack is they ran the Reinhardt, but they also ran the Winston. And the advantage about the Winston is that Winston is just able to get in a lot further in the aggressive, you know, pushing forward as opposed to Reinhardt. And Reinhardt, sure, he can get in. You get over that charge, he can get in very far, but it's very hard for him to get out again, whereas Winston just jumps in the air and he's gone. So that may have been one of the reasons why they went into that. We're gonna talk about this for a while, actually. You'll see some of the teams here are having some. No, it's not even tech issues. They're just hungry. No, in all honesty, I do like to see these two teams, but I'm wondering what your take is on because you know that Orisa strat that goes to Pripyat ran on first point. They were running into that with a quad tank, and normally that entire composition actually works very well against something like a quad tank or a triple tank or a goats comp or whatever. Because you have the Junkrat spam, you can infinite stall with Diva, etc. But something just didn't quite click. And it actually fell apart quite quickly, so they couldn't actually hold off those quad tanks just standing on point. Did you see anything in particular that happened there? Do you think like, oh, that might be why?
I think one of the big happenings there was just the target acquisition coming in from Swiss team. They knew exactly who they needed to target every single time in that first push. They just systematically took out each player that they needed to in the right priority, and due to that, the composition just fell apart, and their positioning was good on the side of Ghost of Pripyat on defense, but Swiss team countered it quite well, I think, in the way that they kind of dove on the right targets. You did see that they were going with the Orisa strategy, but correct me if I'm wrong, I do think there was a Widowmaker there as well, standing on the, if you're facing from the attacker side, on the far left high ground, and instantly was dove on top of and not able to really utilize that positioning.
True, true. I mean, it was both Widowmaker and Junkrat that just weren't really being able to get any value. That might have been positioning, might have been like they were being dispositioned. And like Widowmaker having your grapple cooldown increased recently might have been a part in that. But yeah, D.Va could just dive on the Widowmaker. There's nothing to help her out because, you know, normally you might have a Mercy there that just heals her up. Junkrat was sort of found himself on the point where you think like, okay, that might be D.Va's job to do. And then Junkrat died. Widowmaker actually died to a baby D.Va, not even to the D.Va herself in her mech. And yeah, I mean, if you lose both of the DPS and your D.Va is not able to get on point in time, then you have no stall, everything just dies, and yeah, you have supports and 2 tanks left, but honestly, against 4 tanks and 2 supports, it's not really something you can do.
Yeah, and talking about only having a supports left, the first blood was actually taken on Mango because he was standing with the Widowmaker in that high ground, and he was actually the first one to go down. So before the fight even broke out, they lost one of their healers, and he was playing Zenyatta at that time, so not much mobility, and we did see him previously on the Lucio, where he is extremely good when it comes to mobility. I just don't think he could handle that change, and he was overextending a bit in his positioning. And that also, I think, was a factor to go into them kind of crumbling a bit in that initial fight. But I must say, I absolutely love how Ghost of Pripyat brought that back.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the first point wasn't where they want it. It doesn't have to be. I mean, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And they just might want to look at that strat again and just see where they're gonna go with that, if they might adapt it or keep trying that and adapt it a little bit. Personally, I think I would personally say I change it. Like, my ideal defense on King's Row right now doesn't evolve on Orisa at all, because Orisa just doesn't seem really good right now. Because there's a lot of mobility and a lot of stuns in the game, and Orisa's just not able to adapt to all the situations quickly enough. So it's mostly Reinhardt.
Very good Orisa.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of talk about main tanks lately. Anyways, that is not the map I wanted to select. I'm sorry. We are gonna go to Gibraltar actually, not to Dorado. You can see that, but the teams could. Yeah, I mean, Watchport Gibraltar is another one of those, but even though it has been a dive map, like, predominantly, because a lot of high ground, a lot of good high ground as well, where it was just a lot of snipers, Winstons, D.Vas, you know, jumping around. But lately, there's been a lot of teams that just don't care about high ground anymore, because you just stand there, hold up a shield, and they have to come to you in order to stop that payload. Or, you know, to actually contest the payload, like, to move it forward. So I mean, just to see what both of these teams will do, because it is, like I said, it's been a really Reinhardt favored meta lately, but there's possibilities for teams just still going for that Winston, because it is it's definitely not something they do not want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I often see dive on Gibraltar, especially for the first point. You often see a bit of a switch around in the composition as you go further in. But talking about it, I mean, it really depends what the teams go for. Seeing what Ghosts of Pripyat have been able to bring out in their compositions with, I wouldn't say off-meta picks anymore, but a bit of the off-the-beaten path picks would be the right way of putting it. With the Sombra Doomfist, it's definitely gone up in popularity, but it's still not like your traditional dive or death ball, or kind of your trip tank, quad tank compositions. So I'd be interested to see something like that coming out from Ghost of Pripyat, but I think it's going to depend how they want to answer the defense of Swiss team.
Oh, honestly, I'm very much in agreement there, because it just all depends on what the team set up with, right? I mean, you can have one of the teams being much more dive favored than the others, and like you said, if they just set up with a dive on a defense, then it might be very well worth going dive into it, or not going dive into it if you can counter it properly. But if they're set up with like they're looking to do with an Orisa defense, then I mean, you know, you might just wanna do something else against that, something they're not really prepared for, like they did in King's Row. You know, just walk in there with a quad tank and see how they deal with it. They do seem to not exactly set up for that just now. But I don't know, man. I mean, on the defense, they have this Orisa Hog. So that's, you know, the Pool Hawk combo. They actually have Joalfio on the Junkrat. Daffy Duck still on the Ana, Takayuki now on the Zenyatta. And they do run the Widowmaker, who's been very favored here. But on the attack, they are going with this dive, but only solo tank from MrFizz.
Oh wow, Metalstorm already getting dived on, and this is quite the important pick here. Hopefully Metalstorm can get some picks, as we do see first pick going onto the side of Geo, picking up Hate. And Mapo just pressuring them quite a bit, as we do see DaWae in the backline here on the Sombra. Discorded and a little bit scared. Geo is the first one to fall. Metal picks up Mango, but the point is still moving as Hate picks up another one.
I mean, this has been a very known strategy, you know, just, you know, clear off everything forward, have someone on the payload, which is now the Ana. But Metalstorm somehow not able to keep his position and just gets taken out by MrFizz. MrFizz does fall himself, so it's going to be an even contest here in numbers-wise. So they're probably going to get in once more.
DaWae picks up Takayuki, which is a very nice pick underneath the Pulse Bomb of Mapo. And this allows them to get the first point quite nicely. Rather smooth sailing at the moment.
This is kind of what I was talking about, right? So the Orisa, Victor, had put up a shield in that corner. And you think, okay, so you want to contest the point, right? Well, you can't, because you can't walk forward without that shield being moved. And he didn't have the cooldown yet. So, yeah, that's where Orisa just misses the adaptability. Does get nanoed now. And with that reduced spread lately, that's probably going to be a lot of damage pushed out.
Oh, but Primal Rage just says no to that damage, as he does start chasing down Takayuki, hoping to pick him up, but he's completely removed from the fight. I think that's enough from you, MrFizz, as we do just see the payload moving further and further for Ghost of Pripyat.
There's no fights on the payload. They're doing a very good job of just pushing forward, not letting them fight on that cart. Yeah, oh, I actually noticed that I haven't put on the game view. There we go. Now you can actually see what's happening, guys. They're already on the third point.
Yeah, quite a quick one. Here we go. Hate coming out with the Dragon Blade. Gets taken out though. Geo picking up a 2k, coming in with the tire as well. Okay, who can he find? Manages to get flawless wins. This is going to really hinder the approach from Ghost of Pripyat. However, Mango and MrFizz still moving this point a bit.
And MrFizz has been doing a very good job. I mean, he's solo tanking here. Let's not forget about that. But there's a lot of long-range healing from Ana coming out. I mean, you're forgetting the sidelines for Widowmaker, but also for Ana are really good here.
Oh wow, DaWae coming with the EMP, picking up Takayuki, forcing that resurrection, and picking up Daffy Duck right after the resurrection. That is some smooth operation right there.
Definitely. I mean, they finally seem to be able to stop the front line diving into them, and now they can finally work on this back line. Like, this Ana has to run away now. Can't keep her team alive, and yeah, they'll have helped them at the third point after all their switches.
Yeah, so Ghost of Pripyat, I'm interested to see what they decide to do here, if they're going to stick with this comp or swap it up a bit, because it feels like at the moment this solo tanking is hindering them a little bit.
It does seem that way. I mean, they do switch over to this Diva on Mapo now, so they will only go with the Genji Sombra now. But that EMP Dragon Blade combo can be very big, although Sound Barrier is already doing a lot of work here.
A lot of work going down. Daffy Duck does manage to get the res from Takayuki, but he is in quite a bad position as we do see Self-Destruct coming out, takes out Flawless Wins and removes the mech of Mapo. Here's the Dragon Blade coming in from Ghost of Pripyat. Hate looking to find something, trying to get out of that mech at the moment. Takayuki's Transcendence keeping him alive just off the back of the Mercy healing from Daffy Duck, and this is them keeping the point once again. Swiss team, I think a little bit better here.
It's good to see that Swiss team still makes that Zenyatta Mercy combo work. It's been not as favored lately, especially without a pharmacy. But it's been something the team still return to. Now we are going to be seeing another attack here. They have switched over to the Rein Zarya now. And the Brigade, so they're actually going a full anti-dive composition now. And with that EMP, that might just be what it will turn out to be. Very effective at.
Oh, here Dragon Blade comes out from Metalstorm. He's hoping to find something, but he does get hacked here. This could be quite dangerous. EMP is doing a lot of work, but Mapo is very, very low. And Mango also not too healthy over there, but back on the point, it is still moving. They're chasing down players, but they're not quite stopping the point here. Hack over onto Victor just off the back of his sleep, and he has to run a little bit scared here as MrFizz tries to chase him down, but they are going to need to back off here as we do see more dives taking place. Hate hoping to assisting some picks here, getting some big stuns. Takayuki knocked down off the charge from MrFizz, and now they're moving even further towards this. Daffy Duck has popped off with that Valkyrie, keeping his team alive quite comfortably, but this point is now moving his team no longer staying alive. Spawn advantage is for the Metal Storm, kind of contesting the point here as they're moving forward. Victor jumping right back here. Here's a self-destruct. Can't find anyone, doesn't find anyone. Too many shields and bubbles off on the side of Ghost of Pripyat right now. MrFizz jumping in. That's a big hack and a self-destruct to follow it up here. They are going to be in a very bad position, but they do have the spawn advantage right now. But so much healing coming off of flawless wins from the backline here. We do see another rest from Daffy Duck. Hate following up there, but Daffy Duck is able to escape the onslaught of the Brigitte, as you do see more and more picks coming off of the side of Ghost of Pripyat. That nano boost from Flawless over onto MrFizz has secured them this round.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, both teams was pulling out switches. So there was Dive, then there was Orisa Hog, then there was Orisa Hog switching to Dive, and then there was Dive switching to Anti-Dive. So yeah, the definitely both teams showing that there is, well, definite counters to compositions, and you know, the right swaps at the right times can make all the difference. But again, Swiss team a bit late to react to everything. They might have held them off a bit sooner had they swapped earlier. But there's always this principle, right, that a lot of teams will still hold value to having ultimates or having ultimate charge, where they think, okay, we lost the first fight, so the enemy team has ult advantage. Then you lose the second fight with the enemy team using ults, so you not using ults, and then the third fight you should have ultimate advantage, and you should win that fight. But lately it doesn't really always turn out that way, and some teams have really not realized or figured out how exactly, like, how swapping heroes and swapping compositions works. And when they can and when they cannot do that. So yeah, that is something that Swiss team might also be struggling with because they're just a newer team. So their their in-game leader, as we call it, is just not as adapt to it, or they might just all be commenting at the same time about different things. We are going to see this Torbjorn defense from Hate though, and well, we've heard he's a Torb specialist. We didn't see much of it on the PAL, unfortunately, but it might work out better on Gibraltar here. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. But that's at least what his team is doing, saying, well, we'll just try again. MrFizz will be on the Orisa for this occasion, and they will not be running a Widowmaker. Instead, we'll have Soldier on the way. And the attack is just a full dive. Very classic. This is very Season 5. Just Zenyatta, Lucio, and Genji Tracer with Sadiba. There's nothing more dive than this composition right here.
And I like their positioning, trying to go for this high ground here. They are moving the point bit by bit, but you can just see the ambush waiting for them over on the side of Ghost of Pripyat. They are so ready for this fight.
I do like, though, that they're not just jumping forward recklessly. Like, they do scout them out very carefully, just moving on the payload, just seeing how far can we get before we have to fight. And now they'll see what's happening. They see this turret, they see this Orisa shield. Now they can formulate a plan, or at least just try to dodge everything, which seems to be working out okay.
And here we go, Dive is coming through, but right now, those Torb changes make him quite the tank buster as he takes out Victor, as well as taking Enil out of that mech. And here we have it, Ghost of Pripyat already getting the first point here. Takayuki, a little bit unhealthy there on the...
And that was the one flaw I kind of saw, because if you know, they were set up to defend, but they were not set up to defend in a position where they would also contest the card. So Swiss team was just, okay, so you're defending there, but we can just walk forward and push the payload in if you don't contest us. That's exactly what happened. So while the idea is very good, they might have to work on the execution a little bit, because it didn't really start to work out that well. And now Swiss team is able to push forward with this dive, and well, they have some ultimates coming up, so this is going to be a fun one.
Definitely will, and look at all of the health that is being lost here. Takayuki takes out Hate's turret. That's going to hinder them quite a lot, as we do see the tactical visor being popped off the side of DaWae. He's hoping to find something out of it, but he didn't quite get there. Here we have Victor coming in with the Primal Rage, and both self-destructs. Oh my word, Mapo gets the 2k, and Enilim only takes out one turret. Geo comes with the Dragon Blade, and there's Molten Core spewing hot lava everywhere. Ghost of Pripyat managing to actually defend this one.
Yeah, they managed to. They had to use, well, a lot of ultimates for it though, but there were also some ults used on the side of the Swiss team. So then you're kind of wondering, okay, so who got the better exchange at that? Like, who got the better ults out? And you only see a Transcendence coming up on the side of Goes to Pripyat, so I'm gonna say the advantage is definitely on the side of Swiss team because they have 2 support ults here. But again, it's a lot more damage and a lot less target focus on the side of Goes to Pripyat necessary. This just shows it. There's a lot of bursts.
Into the iris.
That's an extreme amount of burst. As soon as they lost Takayuki, that fight was almost over on the side of Swiss team because of the way that we just see Ghost of Pripyat collapse on them so well.
Giafio also not opting to take out the easy way, just, you know, dies late. It's a little bit of stagger. There's still quite some time left, so even though they're not making quite the same pace that Ghost of Pripyat was making, they're still making decent time so far. And this is one fight territory if you do it right, so let's see if they can make it happen here. With Hate putting up his turret on the dropship bridge.
I like that turret positioning. It allows for it to do quite a lot, but they have to watch out for Anilium, who's going to be able to dive right onto that. But talking about dive, we do see Ghost of Pripyat diving into the backline of Swiss team, popping that Primal Rage on the side of MrFizz right now. DaWae, nano boosted and popping his tactical visor, hoping to find something off of it, and he does manage to find some things. That's a cheeky hammer kill from the side of Hate onto Anilium.
Yeah, but definitely Swiss team's understanding that they don't need to use ults when they lose a fight that heavily. So Giafio will have a Blade, Takayuki will have a Transcendence, they'll have Daffy Duck with the Sound Barrier. Victoria is actually, you know, coming up very close to the Primal Rage, but you know, it won't really matter as soon as they don't really dive anymore, because they do dive, but then their backline just gets dove on and they don't peel properly for their backline, so there's no way they stay alive, and then they have to trade. Well, they have to win the trades, and they just don't do that either.
Oh wow, and look at that hot lava just completely nullifying an entire entrance for them in the situation. Transcendence forced out of Takayuki, and Anilium hopefully getting that turret here. Geo going to be popping Blade very soon, but we do see a self-destruct from the side of Mapo, not finding anyone in that just yet. However, Daffy Duck and Victorino are able to pick up some kills out of that. It looks like they're going to be able to push forward. Oh wait, I am eating my words as Mapo and Mango. What a lovely duo, both M's on the team, pulling out quite a lot of work here as Victorino dives directly onto DaWae, but he gets Bardic Grenade and gets taken out as well off of that one. As we see an anti boost onto Mapo, you can see FlawlessWins playing the micro game here, keeping his whole team together, and this is probably 1 or 2 fights left for them over here, Mr. Classic Man.
It's definitely going to be a rough one here, and what we mostly see happening is, like I said, the backline's not being peeled for properly. So what that means is that, sure, they're able to dive in, but they don't get kills quick enough, and then the fights just drag on for quite a while, and they just don't have to sustain. The Takayuki will go over to the Brigittes, but that still doesn't increase their healing a lot, although it might deal with the backline dives a little bit better.
I'm surprised I haven't seen a Moira come out for them yet, but here we go, the dive comes in from MrFizz and Mapo. Mapo gets D-Max, this could be their chance, as we do see another tactical visor from DaWae, kind of taking out the rest of the stragglers of the team, and this is probably the last fight territory for Swiss team.
Yeah, they were looking so well for the first point, but obviously on the first point there wasn't really a fight taking place, so that wasn't very surprising. But yeah, they do need to figure out how to deal with this, because the high ground's uncontested, the front line's uncontested, the back line's uncontested. They're not really contesting anything, and if you're attacking, you kind of need to be able to either stop contests or contest yourself.
It's a dangerous situation. Time is ticking for Swiss team right now. Only ultimates they have in the bank right now will be the Dragon Blade and the Sound Barrier, but right away Geo gets taken out by MrFizz. This could be the pick that ends it all, although they are moving the point bit by bit here. The dive comes out, self-destruct underneath the Bardic Grenade, picks up 3. Mapo looking very strong there. Anilium also throwing out self-destruct, not getting as much value, and here we go, moving into overtime. Oh, Mango picks up Geo as well, just at the end there, insult to injury.
Geo even throwing out the Dragon Blade there, but I mean, we always say Genji's cannot 1v6, and he couldn't even 1v1 there, so that was a bit sad. You hate to see that happen. Now, it's probably the last 3k that we saw. Very simple, you know, the Swiss team just had used all their movement cooldowns. You throw in the bomb, and they can't go anywhere. So yeah, that just a very well-timed one, especially with a Molten Core there. And the lovely emote. You know, D.Va loves her teammates and her enemies alike, apparently.
I really like that because sound barriers also popped, but we saw the barter grenade come out as well from FlawlessWins. I just have to point out, FlawlessWins has been. I don't know if carrying his team is correct in the wording, but he has been such an integral factor going into what the amount of pressure that their team is able to apply onto a Swiss team. I'm very impressed from him, from the plays he's able to provide.
I mean, that's kind of what Ana is, right? If you have a good player on the Ana, she does so much, and you really feel like you really cannot do anything like to kill anyone. But on the other hand, Swiss team wasn't really running a heavy support lineup. Like they had a Lucio Zen for most of that attack, and that just shows that, I mean, they can't really do anything healing wise. So that was the whole point of dive. You dive in, you quickly kill something and then snowball. But there was never an immediate dive that got a pick on the enemy teams on the side of Ghost of Pripyat. And then, well, you know, you can't really break anything down from there. So you go in and then everything just falls apart if you don't kill anything. And they never killed anything. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the only strategy that dive relies on. You dive in, you kill things, and they dove in and they were killed. So
yeah. I think that part of their dive there is often we saw them diving onto the point instead of onto specific players, or kind of onto the wrong player and leaving their backline completely exposed for the counter dive, because that's what Ghost of Pripyat was running on defense. They were a full dive composition save for the Torbjorn. So they were able to counter dive every time that we saw Swiss team dive in. And I would have actually liked to see a little bit of patience on the side of Swiss team, maybe moving in there, acquiring the right target, or waiting for the dive from Ghost to Pripyat, finding just that last piece to the puzzle that would have brought their team comp together there.
Yeah, and I feel they've been struggling with that in general a little bit. I mean, it's a new team, so they might also just be figuring out, you know, what are we going to be playing strategy wise, and then who plays what. Not everyone might actually be familiar on all the heroes. They are like quote unquote required to play for the team. So that is just something that comes. You know, when you build a new team, you have to figure all that stuff out, and you know they'll get there eventually. But it's good to see that, you know, they do have some gems in there. I think especially. When you're talking about the supports, I've especially been impressed with Daffy as well. Daffy on the main heal mostly has been doing very well. Like the Mercy as well is looking good. Yeah, I know other things going on as well. I think we're just gonna go to an assault map here. Let's see what we get. We're gonna get Hanamura. Otherwise we just do Ilios. It's also cool because apparently some teams are there.
Well, let's see what the teams decide on. I mean, it would be interesting to see an assault map, but Ilios can always be exciting as a control point. I mean,
Ilios is Ilios. We have another big well in the middle on one of the points, which we're definitely going to see because we play all of them. Yeah. I mean, you have the well, but you also have that long sight line of ruins.
On ruins.
Yeah, exactly. And Lighthouse, again, is prone to not exactly the same thing as on Village we saw in Nepal, so it's not exactly a maze track, because there's 4 doors. Actually 5 if you count the window in the back. And 6 if you count the window on top. But so may can't wall off everything, but it can still maybe be something that in close quarters with the freeze will work out well. But we'll see what these teams do, because it's not often I see a May on any of these maps. But maybe they will. Torbjorn, same thing. I don't really see Torbjorn a lot on Ilios, but it might be run. It's mostly a Pharah map, so Pharah, Widow, McCree. Tracer Genji are really good here. Doomfist can be run. Sombra can be run. So yeah, there are options here, but we'll see which I put out. We're going to be starting on Ruins though, so maybe we'll finally see some proper Widow 1v1s, because we haven't seen that so far. Actually, any Sniper 1v1 for that matter.
We haven't. Most of the time it's been uncontested to either of the teams picking up the Widowmaker, and from both sides they have actually been picking up quite a few kills with the Widowmaker, so I'd be very interested to see a duel coming out from both of these sides.
Yeah, well, so far they haven't really picked their heroes just yet. They are moving into it though, because they still have about 30 seconds. So far, Ghost of Pripyat are looking to build up this dive composition, but they look to be setting up a triple tank dive perhaps with the For anyone who doesn't know, they call it, people have called it flying goats. I've called it flying goats, personally, because, you know, you have those 3 tanks, 2 dive tanks, 3 supports. Currently, they're only on Mango with Lucio here, as you will now be able to see. And on the other side, they're setting up this Rein, Zarya, Ana composition. They will both be running a Widowmaker though, so we finally get our wish granted, and FlawlessWins will go back to the Ana, so it'll just be a dive with a Sombra Widowmaker. On the other side, it's a Genji Widowmaker with Rein, Zarya. With the supports, both the same. Lucio, Ana.
Right away, Metalstorm looking to find the right picks here. Can he get Mango? Mango diving right on there alongside MrFizz. They pick up Metalstorm. This opens up so much space for Hate to pop off on the Widowmaker.
And we're still going here. And they actually took out the mech of Mapo, so it's a lot of protection and peel gone. They just keep going in the backline here. He's not gonna stop. They're not gonna stop at all.
I really like the aggression that we see from Ghost of Pripyat off of playing very far forward, and Mango getting a 2k on his own. Oh my word.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good engage here. I mean, sure, you can dive in the backline, and the problem with running Rein, Zarya is that you cannot go and help them out as quick as you could maybe on Winston D.Va. So it used to be the big deal about anti-dive is that you run that Mercy Zen, because Mercy just out-heals Winston damage. Well, like, she does the exact same amount of healing. It's no longer the case, so Zenyatta and Mercy are no longer the duo that keeps each other alive forever. So yeah, now you have to find new answers to dive, and why not just run like a composition that deals with dive rather than just supports. Now they're going to be corralled into this tiny little room here, and
yeah, being pushed into this room is very dangerous with the team composition we see here. Although Victorino could do quite a lot swinging his hammer in this situation, they're not very. Oh my word, MrFizz and Mapo are having a field day in that room.
Yeah, you would normally say that the team that has the Rein, Zarya would just stand in that corner and smack everything to bits that comes in there. But somehow they just weren't able to keep that going, or to keep that up. Metalstorm will give up on the Widowmaker. We'll now just go to the McCree.
Oh wow,
how do you even get that kill? How?
Oh my word. Oh, how could anyone expect that? Geo and Enelium do get 2 kills. This could be where they can come up ahead though.
They're going after MrFizz, but he just jumps out. This is what the Winston does.
Hate needs to find something very soon. Oh wow, he gets slept. Can they capitalize on the sleep on Hate? Doesn't look like they can. They just want to pick up the point. Mango popping that sound barrier to keep the team alive. But still, we haven't seen any solid engagement from either side. As we do see in the backline, Gio popping the Dragon Blade now. Picks up a kill onto Flawless underneath Victorino. Also picking up a kill on top of their main tank. DaWae goes down as well. The Dragon Blade's doing a lot of work as we see Victorino also getting that nano boost. And now it's a 2v2 on point. Overtime is already in place here. Daffy Duck jumps in with the sound barrier, making it difficult for Hate to pick up kills here on the Widowmaker. And having to back off as well. It looks like they might be able to pull this point back into their side here.
MrFizz coming back on the Tracer, which is an interesting switch from a main tank. Does actually get 3 kills.
Oh my word.
I mean, he was the first to go down.
That to work.
He was the first one to go down there, so it's expected for him to be back quickly. Winston could maybe have done the same job. I don't know. It was interesting to see what was happening there. Because even though the Swiss team was actually very close to capping that point there, Takayuki went down and Daffy Duck was back late. So the sound barrier wasn't there. Takayuki actually was safe for a bit longer than he maybe should have because of the nano boost. But yeah, still went down in the end. And then if you have no healing left, it's just a Reinhardt who has no self-heal and just like a one-dimensional barrier with low mobility. It's hard to stay alive there. So that's just a bit of a shame. But they took a long time to adapt as well.
So moving to this one now, we do see both sides opting for a reserve, but Torbjorn is back at it again on the sides of Ghost of Pripyat.
Mango already looking for, you know, the flank for the boop, but they're setting up into this other corner that just is not as prone to being booped in as the corner that Ghost of Pripyat stands in. So we'll see if that pays off for them, but they're just facing off a little bit. Mango gets pulled back in, just gets back out. It's Lucio. No, he does not get out.
Yeah, that's a very nice flashbang kill from the side of Metalstorm. Can they keep this up on the side of Swiss team? Moving into Ghost of Pripyat. Inelium doing a lot of damage to the shield here. Hook doesn't manage to find anyone. There's a big health onto Daffy as well as Geo, but Geo takes out a kill. Metalstorm following up as well, and this is getting pretty dangerous as we do see the point opening up. Mapo gets just completely hooked out here. Nellium, oh my word, Mango following up on the crackback, but gets taken down in no time from Takayuki.
Yeah, though it's a very nice start to the fight here. You do see that there's a little more shield break on the side of Swiss team. That's definitely because of that Roadhog McCree combo. I mean, sure, Torbjorn does a lot of damage now, but at range, not so much. Same thing goes for Soldier. They're going to go to this left side as well. Now running with the Winston Diva, just making sure that they can just dive into the backline again.
And that's what they've done. Takayuki is in a bad position over here. But anyways, regardless, MrFizz does get taken out. Mapo does pick up a kill as well onto Victorino. And it looks like right now this point is kind of moving towards the side of Ghosts of Pripyat as we see Geo backing off. Although he is slept, can they follow up and take him out as he is alone on the ground there? Yes, they can. Mapo gets a lovely position movement there.
Yeah, and not a lot of kills actually going down in that fight, but still they managed to just push them out, just saying, you want to get to safety? Well, run away from the point then. Because shields won't save you, and they really did. Those shields didn't really save them. Another self-destruct from Mapo.
Once again. Oh, finding out Takayuki, this could be dangerous for them. Losing that honor is very important in this fight. MrFizz going in as deep as he can to take out some more kills.
What's most interesting to see here is that we see 6 ultimates online on the side of Swiss team, and nothing's being used. They're playing very reactively, and I think that's maybe something they need to work on, just being more proactive, especially with their ult usage, and just using ults to get kills rather than to save themselves.
Oh, but look at this Primal Rage, just so far in here, chasing out Metalstorm, actually manages to find him. And is he going to escape from it as well? He manages to, and here we have DaWae coming out with the Tactical Visor in their spawn. They're being spawn camped in the situation. This is not looking very good for Swiss team, as we do see 60% ticking up on the side of Ghost of Pripyat.
And Mango
getting ready for it.
He's waiting. He's waiting.
Geo sees him though. Can he pick up the kill? And he does! This is the opening that Swiss team needs in this situation here. And well, over at Helios, can they capitalize on this with their huge ult advantage? Here we go. Kate coming in with the Dragon Blade. Oh, sleep into a Roadhog. Oh, Kate hasn't been taken out yet. Oh, he does. Geo picks him up. That gives him a 2k. Oh, who's he gonna find? Doesn't find anyone in that situation.
Geo's not chasing down Mango, but yeah, I mean, they got Mango and they used only 2 ultimates there, so they still have 4 left. But again, they didn't engage with any ultimates. They were just waiting. Then the Primal Rage came in, the Tech Visor came in, and you have to go, Swiss team. You cannot keep waiting to get attacked on. And now they're looking to be a little bit more proactive, but still maybe not enough. Oh, they're getting the kills though.
Yep. Ooh, having Inelia fall down as we do see Mango popping off that sound barrier. Does get Bardic Grenaded though from Takayuki. Here we have Deadeye coming out, but he used it a little bit early. Didn't find any kills off of it. MrFizz is back into the fray. DaWae picks up Daffy Duck. I like seeing DaWae switch over to the McCree here. Geo popping that Dragon Blade. Can he find some more kills as he starts dashing into the team? And there we go. He's just now boosted here. No more Blade. He's looking to find the kills, and he does manage to help out there. But Hate coming back into it. Also on the Genji, showing that he might just be the better Genji in the situation. And they're going to be able to pick up the point here, and probably the round as well.
I mean, Daffy Duck is still jumping around, and they don't have... Oh, I was going to say, just as I was going to say, they don't really have the damage to take him down with. They show up, prove me wrong. Now, Metalstorm is on the point. A Soldier gets anti-nated, taken down. But they are still re-engaging, so maybe they get a kill or 2 here.
Oh, wow. Geo picking up DaWae alongside Inelium as he's using Deadeye. This is neck and neck right now. 99% in overtime to 94. They might just be able to win this one. Hate needs to do something very special here.
Without a Dragon Blade. Maybe he'll get it. Maybe he'll get it, because they are having nano, but no, he dies.
Oh, he falls before he's able to do anything. Mango, last one on point, falls as well. Geo picks him up with the headshot. Switching over to the Wrecking Ball, and MrFizz touch the point. You're right there. Mapo manages to touch it here, but they need some healing as you see Mapo falling off. FlawlessWins switching over to the Doomfist instead of his support role. And right now, Swiss team is so good.
Yeah, honestly, this is definitely looking very well for Swiss team in the end. Yeah, all they needed was to start using ultimates. Well, they did in the end, so that's always a good sign. Yeah, so we saw them switching. Well, not switching up a lot, but I mean they did go over to that Genji Jiafia, really, pulling it back, getting 3 kills in that fight before they capped the point, like they retook it. Then they lost it again. Metal Storm just touched it in time, and then they were able to, with the Hog ultimate and some other burst damage, just take it out and cap out the win here. Now on Lighthouse, we will see some different things. And FlawlessWins is now on the Symmetra, but we'll just move back to the Ana. And they're actually going to be running a Goats comp here. Running into Ace, almost Goats comp. Jiafia will be choosing to run the McCree. So the only difference is McCree versus Brigitte here. So Hate versus Jiafia, it's going to be the one to watch here.
Yeah, I think Gio has... Oh my word, Mango already picks up Takayuki. This is a great start to the fight for Ghosts of Pripyat as they move in right away, picking up another kill onto Victorino. Although Daffy Duck gets a pick onto MrFizz, but at this point it's definitely going to Ghosts first.
Well, they traded evenly and actually are trading up now, so it's an even fight, but actually Swiss team takes advantage of it. Because sure, Takayuki and Victor were taken out, but then also FlawlessWins and MrFizz were taken out, so it wasn't exactly an even fight there. Same heroes lost. And now they're going to see if they can maybe recontest here immediately, but no, it doesn't seem that way, although it does take out Jiafia.
It's interesting seeing what Ghost is doing here. They're playing so far forward, which could be their downfall. Hate using Rally here to make sure they can get the point back. Almost 30% here. Daffy Duck with a 2k with a single boop. That is going to be a very strong push for them to not allow for Ghost of Pripyat to get this point. We do see a sleep landing onto Mapo. He's not looking too healthy here and having to back off as Hate Barter grenaded and running scared.
I know he's getting played the game from that one.
Oh, Self-Destruct just doesn't make it onto the point there for the side of DaWae.
Oh, Mango contesting for play of the game, also gets a double boop here. Does get taken down himself. The sound barrier comes out for Daffy Duck. Nadir is going to go back to the point with this Nano Diva. There's so much damage going out, so much healing going out. That, I mean, it was hard to call. I mean, actually, because we are getting close to recapping it, but it does seem that Swiss team really has a firm grasp on this point so far.
They do look.
Man. This is gonna go. I mean, I'm actually. This is gonna be a close one who gets played the game because they both got a double boop. It just is this gonna be who got the higher health targets and who did most like outside of that. It's 12-second delay of the game. Luck can happen outside of it. Whether it's Daffy or Mango, that's contested. But environmental kills, they always count for the highest points here.
But talking about look what Daffy Duck's doing here. Very sneaky. Hopefully he can find something off of it. Gets a boop. Oh my word, that's the Graviton Surge just completely locked out of the fight. Self-Destruct is going to be coming out. Who does it find? Not anyone in that situation. Metal Storm's not happy about that, but Victorino comes back with an Earth Shatter hoping to find something. But Hate not allowing Daffy Duck to do anything because of that fist on Doomfist.
On that Graviton Surge, just being booped mid-cast, making sure it landed on the roof. That was probably not completely intentional, but we're gonna call it calculated nonetheless. Beautiful play there from Daffy Duck. He was ready for it. Probably wanted to boop someone off the map, but that was just as good, really. They still lost the fight, but that was just a play for days. I'm gonna enjoy that one. Definitely clip it.
Yeah, that's 200 IQ right there, as we do see MrFizz charging directly into that one. Self-Destruct far deep into the enemy lines. DaWae not picking up anything from that, but completely throwing them out of position due to it. We do see a charge from MrFizz. That's going deep. They want to pick up Metal Storm, not allow them to get anywhere near the points, as right now they are on 99%. They have to keep them off of it.
This is really, as Ghost Pripyat's been doing all the time. They just keep going until they hit that spawn door, and even then they still keep going sometimes. Does lead to a little bit of an overextend here, both Mango and Hate going down. But they always get backcapped, actually. I don't know who was there. Oh, it was Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck backcapping, I absolutely love it. Not quite able to contest the point completely. Coalescence coming out just off the back of a sound barrier. Oh my word, that grab is absolutely massive. Meteor Strike comes down as well. Victorino does get a very nice Earth Shadow, knocking one off. No, he gets back onto the fight. They're not knocked off just yet. Oh, there he goes. Metal Storm's one to pick him up. Self-Destruct comes after Metal Storm. doesn't find anyone in the situation just yet, and the point is still ticking up for Ghost of Pripyat.
It is. You're going over to the Reaper to maybe deal with those heavy tanks a little bit more. And LAM going over to the Hammond even. So a little bit more mobility. Actually 3 tanks now. So yeah, we'll see if they can deal with it. But Doomfist actually punches tanks quite hard.
Yeah, this fight's going to be a bit of a brawl as we do see another Graviton Surge coming up from Mapo. He does have full charge, self-destruct in the corner there, picks up Daffy Duck. This is a dangerous situation for Swiss team as we do see overtime ticking away for Ghost of Pripyat as they do manage to take Ilios.
Yeah, Ilios going over to Ghost of Pripyat, but that was a lot closer than some of the other maps we've seen, so that's good to see. Now, we aren't going to go back to the lobby, obviously, because we don't seeing this. Yeah, no, we can't see the play of the game now. That's actually the sad part. Like, that's the sad part when we put it on best of 3. But it's going to be a tie between Mango and Daffy for sure here. I can't really call who that was. Let's see if the teams want to do another map. Actually, it's going to be a good one. Okay, so yeah, what we saw there happening on Ilios was, again, it was a lot of aggression from Ghost Pripyat. Swiss team did manage to pull back a lot what they maybe shouldn't have. But it's really looking a lot like, Ghost Pripyat is a bit of the better team. We're going to be finishing this one off with Hanamura. We are going to see that beautiful 2CP that we have been missing from this one. But yeah, on Ilios, that was just actually still some interesting picks coming out. I mean, we saw the Doomfist and the Reaper and even the Hammond in the end. So we have seen almost all of the heroes. I don't think we've seen Symmetra just yet. But other than that, I can't really think of any heroes that we haven't seen yet. Can you?
It's pretty much just Symmetra and Bastion, and if anything, that's a pair that could definitely work together on Hanamura. Yeah, it would be very interesting to see it. I would love to see it. Playing a bit of Leapfrog over there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I like I definitely love the Bastion strats. On Hanamura, I've seen it happen on second. A lot of teams, when they started running goats soon, a lot of teams thought it was a wise thing to have Bastion on the second point, setting up straight away to stop that snowball from coming through. But it's not been that prevalent lately anymore. It's still something that's being run a lot on Junkertown, because, you still have the pirate chip coming out every now and then. But it depends. Some teams are a little bit more fan of the Bastion than others. As said, we're gonna go to Hanamura now. This is the most strategy of that strategy gets. It's a 2CP map, and Hanamura is definitely a good one. I like Hanamura mostly because it's probably the one 2CP map that just has the choke. There's a choke, and you can really not get around that choke. It's also one of the few maps with a choke where people can actually hold at the choke instead of, far away. Although, there's also been a lot of people that still like to draw into teams and then wreck them as they come through. Whereas other teams will just stand on that front door with a Reinhardt, maybe with a Mei. And we're going to see, especially, Swiss team using that Mei on Nepal village already. Probably throwing out the Mei here as well on their defense.
I would love to see Mei again.
Well, we're going to be starting with them in the defense, and they do seem to be, dragging it out already. Jalfio has lined that one up. And now we are going to be seeing them do other things. Yes, as well. Oh, Anazen. Yeah, Franzaria. And then the soldier Mei. So that's definitely a very solid one. On the attack, though, Ghost of Pripyat definitely looking to go over on this Reinhardt train. And they might even run... Or they might have just queued up their defense comp. I don't know. Because Mango on the attack Torbjorn, that's not something I think we'll see. But they might just be messing with us a bit here.
They definitely could be, but also with the Torb rework, I could see him being a lot more effective on attack than what he was before. Being able to throw his turret a little bit of a distance, having it level up itself. I would love to see him stick to it if he does, but interesting seeing... Okay, Mango switching off there. If we did see anyone, it would have been Hate over on the Torbjorn though.
Yeah, probably. They might run it on defense though, because it is a 2CP thing.
Oh, wow, that is
coming
fast.
out immediately.
Oh, but Mango is going to be backcapping. He's going for Metal Storm and Daffy Duck. He has to watch out for what he's dealing with in the backline there, as the rest of his team has crumbled in the choke.
And no one should be really losing their life here to a Lucio, even though it is Mango and he has been the threat. Mapo on this Widowmaker. They now are switching over to this dive. They will run a triple DPS composition though. So Hate, DaWae, and Mapo on the Widow Genji Sombra. No, Mapo does opt to go for the Diva as well. Maybe. I mean, he was doing well with those self-destructs. So who knows?
Oh, here we go. That's a huge leap coming in from MrFizz, going directly into the backline, but he is getting shredded quite a little bit. As you see DaWae going down, not having that Sombra could be a bit of an issue, as Metalstorm also picks up 8, losing out on the Genji pressure here. However, their tank line is doing very well with the dive over on the side of Ghosts.
I like the wall from Geoalfio, because instead of throwing it in the choke, in which he knows they could just walk past or like jump over, he put it in front of themselves when the tanks dove in, so they thought maybe we can get a pick off. And it seemed to be sort of working, but not entirely, because it is still quite a big open space that they were jumping into.
Look how far forward they're fighting. They want to keep the snowball going, but Daffy Duck and Victorino shutting the door on them very quickly. Although they're still managing to pick up a few kills here, probably building up ult charge as much as possible, but we do see quite a lot of ults ready on the side of this team.
Yeah, and the way on that soldier immediately going for that high ground, that's part of the reason why you push up so far, because then you don't give the enemy team any time to set up on high ground and contest the way in his positioning. And now we're going to see if they're able to actually get in and set that soldier up there, because that is kind of what he wants to do. Nope, instead they're just going to go with the Sombra Genji. They might not even bother going top like up to the platform, because they don't need to. Like, they will have mobility regardless.
So over here. Okay, here we go. They are going to go for the high ground, but that's a big charge from Victorino. Allows for Daffy Duck to also break that open. Primal Rage is going to be coming out on the side of MrFizz. He's hoping to get some work out of it, and he's keeping 2 players at bay, but now he has to escape this pretty much a tower defense of players. Oh, but he picks up Takayuki on his way out.
I mean, he does pick it up, but he was going to die anyways. It's a fun stagger, but, you know, on defense, as soon as you trade, you win, kind of. You win those trades. I will say, though, 35.4% picked up. That means they will have a permanent tick here. So, only 2 more to go here for side of Ghost Pripyat.
And also seeing DaWae switch over to the Doomfist, they're going to be aiming for this backline very quickly, especially with the Nanoblade that is ready for them.
Yeah, the Nanoblade, oh god, that's going to be a lot of damage. But both teams have it, so Takayuki will probably be able to do more with his Transcendence to save them, though. But if he's not close enough...
Capital first. Transcendence coming out from the side of Takayuki. We do hear a Riptide. Who's it going to find? It takes out FlawlessWins. This could be where they can bring things back, as they also put out their Nanoblade. Have to be very careful with the self-destruct there. Takayuki is the one to go down, but Gio and Victorino keep it together.
Definitely, and I mean, they spend a lot of ultimates on side of Ghost Pripyat. They thought they might be able to get it there. May have been wiser to just do a dry push and then go in with the Nanoblade after, but they instead just, you know, opt to just switch off to the Renzaria and the Pharah together with the Brigitte now. So it will just be, well, almost Ghost again. So no Diva, instead they will have a Pharah. But the high ground is now held with the Widowmaker on Metalstorm. Metalstorm not able to take on the Junkrat, just wants to take out the Pharah as soon as she comes in. All the shots come in. Hate is already getting very low because of the Ana. Will stay alive though, but Victor retreats, and now also the Zarya dropping down, so the high ground is secured here for both Pripyats.
Oh, Gio picking up FlawlessWins is a very big pick, as well as Hate going down to Daffy Duck. This is pretty much the fight won for Swiss team already, even though MrFizz picking up the 2k there. Not enough.
No, that's definitely not going to be enough. And not a lot of ults had to be used there as well. I don't think any had to be used, really. Maybe the Shatter was used, but other than that, it was a very clean fight win there. And they'll just have to go again. Hate actually switching off and on to the Brigitte again, so now they'll be, well, you know, without the Brigitte ults. Oh, we got a ult charge. But DaWae is going for the counter snipe here. Doesn't want to give Metalstorm all the free angles that he had.
Yeah, looking at the team composition change here, Mango also opting for the Discord Orbons and Yada, hoping to get some big picks. But here we go. This could be a massive gravitational surge. We do see right away Gio dashing onto them. MrFizz is going to pick him up with a very ballsy charge. And DaWae actually getting a 2k. This could be where they're actually able to open it up. And they managed to do so.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see. It was a good Graviton Surge, but you do see immediately that when you don't have the own Zarya or the Reinhardt to back up with that, there's like no extra damage besides the Genji and the Widowmaker shooting into it. Maybe a Zenyatta. There's a lot of follow-up missing, and then there's a lot of there's a lot of sustain on the side of Ghost Pripyat, which meant they just were able to stay alive for a lot longer than they maybe should have when you're Wrath that easily by the entire team. Now, they're going to be setting up the defense now, and like we said, Hate is that Torbjorn, well, I wouldn't say one trick, but maybe. He's that Torbjorn player for them, so he might pull it out on the defense here. Defense is always the one that I'll look at first because, the defense goes out of spawn first, so they can't change as late. They will be coming out with... 2 seconds... There they go. I think they're going to come out. Yeah, I mean, MrFizz and Mapo look to be pretty set on that Zarya, just as the supports of Mango and FlawlessWins are. But Hate and DaWae just not really being sure what to pick just yet. They might just wait until they see what the enemy has. Or DaWae might be having some connection issues. No, he's not. It's going to be Doomfist Soldier. Fairly solid choice. Not opting to go for the Mei here. They may just not be that familiar with it like we saw on Village. Or they just like Doomfist and Soldier better. They might want to try this one out. Now on the attack, they're going to be running with the Genji Pharah Soldier. So triple DPS. I'm thinking Daffy Duck will switch off to a support maybe. There he goes. Going on to the Mercy. So Mercy Zen with a Winston Diva and a Soldier Genji. So dive versus anti-dive really.
I think that there's going to be a lot on Hate's shoulders right now. He has to perform so well as we see them move into the choke here. Ooh, Mapo playing quite far in. We do see Geo going into the backline here, getting quite a lot of damage down, but not quite enough. I'm surprised we haven't seen them dive in just yet. They're playing very patient.
Well, I mean, their diva was basically brought down to almost no health because you just walked in front of the choke being like, here guys, shoot at this big thing. They might just want to get Valkyrie and push in? I don't know.
Ooh, MrFizz is ready with an Earthshine, but gets taken out before he's even able to do anything with it. Hate is going to dive right into that, not finding any kills. Mango gets Metal Storm in the back there, but Geo shuts the door on him, closes the coffin, not allowing any entry here. DaWae trying to get some damage and takes Inelia out of that mech. We do see still a lot of work coming up from FlawlessWins and the Arctic Grenade, keeping their team alive. Discord is currently on Hate. He needs to find something very big very soon. DaWae pops out sights, but right behind him is Metal Storm. He picks him up. He doesn't need sights to take you out. Victorino doesn't, going down to quite a ballsy charge, and that's fantastic. There we go, using both their CC ultimates here. Quite interesting. Nano coming out as well onto Hate. They have just put in 3 ultimates into winning that fight, and I think they could have done it with only 1.
There was so many ultimates coming out that fight regardless. We saw the Valkyrie, we saw the Transcendence. Like you said, we saw that Tech Visor coming out, the Nano coming out, Shatter, the Grav. Mango will be close to the Sound Barrier, and the Meteor Strike will be up for Hate. But on the other side, there's also 2 ultimates coming up, and actually 2 more that are closer. So ult advantage would look to be in the favor of teams, the Swiss team here, but they aren't really there with support ultimates, so that might be where they're lacking too much.
I like how far in he's playing with this Winston and the Primal Rage. Metal Storm picks up Flawless as well, but Hate trades to Daffy Duck, not allowing any supports, and there we go. Support line of Swiss team completely taken out. However, is that really enough for them to keep it together, as MrFizz is struggling a bit with Victorino? DaWae is on the Tracer. He's going to be following up on that one. Recall is still ready.
The DPS versus tanks here, really, but Allium just, wants just jump off the map here. Yeah, their respawn should be there sooner, so if they engage quickly, they should be able to make it. I don't know if it was a smart decision to jump off the map there. But they're gonna come in with a McCree this time. Just want to probably flash that Doomfist, because he got 3 or 4 kills in that engage there. Just not letting the backline be alive, and then also taking out the DPS there. Just the tanks of Swiss team being alive.
We've seen the story before for Swiss team, where their dive just goes in too deep and there's no peel for the backline.
I mean, now we have the CC ultimates coming back from MrFizz and Mapo, so they gotta act quick or they'll just be grabbed.
Oh, and here we go. Dive comes in. We do see Valkyrie in the skies. Dragon Blade as well. Although he's barrage grenaded, he picks up MrFizz. He wants some more. Self-destruct is going to be coming out from Inelium. He does find FlawlessWins and DaWae alongside Metal Storm. This is going to allow for them to bring things back. But a Graviton Surge from Mapo is ending things completely for them, as they're just picking up kill after kill. Meteor Strike comes in as well. 30 seconds left on the clock. This is danger time. And can they really make it back here?
We're talking about Hate being a Torbjorn one streak, but looking to be do very well on that Doomfist as well. Damn, that is very, very annoying for Swiss team. They were getting very close, and then they just get 3 or 4 kills in a row, and then they just get taken out somehow.
Takayuki has popped Transcendence just to get on there. Inalium is also on there with it, but demeched in no time from that full charge. Zarya, the Mapo, is busy rocking on the point. Here we go. Grav has come out as well, holding them back, not allowing them anywhere near this point, as Inalium just maybe Diva Victorino alone and scared on the point. Daffy Duck can't even get anywhere near it.
That's going to be a map and a series end as well. That was a good scrim we saw, but definitely a very, very big dominance coming out from Ghost of Pripyat. Let's just look at this play of the game here. Let's see what we got here, because there were some plays that may deserve it, but yeah, this is what kind of was what I was waiting for. This is where you went in, killed the Mercy and the Zenyatta, and then just followed up with a DPS, going for that soldier here. Oh. Genji, wow.
Yeah, just being able to apply this much pressure from one character, getting 3 kills off of that is extremely important.
And he actually got the Mercy before that, so that was a 4K play of the game there. Yeah, definitely very, very beautifully played here from both teams. But yeah, that was the end of here, of this scrim that we saw. Goes to Pripyat actually taking out with a 5-0 there, so not 5 Overwatch is something we see. It happens, you know. That's kind of, you know, it even happens in Overwatch League, so it's nothing really big. But yeah, I mean, there were some close moments there. It wasn't a complete rollover. It was just that Ghost of Pripyat obviously was the team that just was together for longer, so definitely looked like that was the main thing, that they just had more strats prepared. They were more able to just, when they had 3 or 4 people survive, like low numbers, to still win it out against the other team, because their coordination was just a little bit more on point. Obviously all usage comes into it, compositions comes into it, but in the end you can just see certain things that some people just know when they can get away with something, because they have someone in their back, and that's kind of what they had with FlawlessWins. Mango getting the cheeky boops, so they're kind of almost to be counting on. So yeah, that was definitely something fun to see here.
Yeah, I think for Swiss team here, with what you were saying, that they probably haven't been around as long as Ghost of Pripyat, I think this has been a very good learning experience from them, and I really hope that they go over this and find their mistakes, and they're able to capitalize on improving from this. I mean, that's what scrims are for at the end of the day, and I can see a lot of potential in that team.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's kind of, you can't really have a perfect team rolling out on the first day. And yeah, that's kind of what you saw happening here. I mean, they weren't perfect, but they definitely weren't unperfect as well. They had, like I said, they had some very good moments. You know, I remember to think back of that King's Row first point attack, just the first point they had on Nepal, so just Village, that just worked out very well for them. Ilios, very close map as well, so they definitely had some very very bright and shining moments there. But yeah, Ghost of Pripyat just proving to be the better team today, which is largely due to just the unbridled aggression that they threw out. I mean, it was just MrFizz going forward. I don't think he actually knows where his S key is. I mean, he probably has it. Maybe actually has unbounded. I don't know. I mean, he just turns around and WM1s out if he needs to go. He doesn't actually walk backwards. Yeah, he didn't need to, because every time he could have gone backwards, he probably just chose death. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Go ahead. Something
on the side of the the aggression. Something I have to just point out on is how much Mango enabled that aggression. Without Mango there, they wouldn't be able to apply it in the manner that they do. And I would love to see Ghost of Pripyat play at a higher level, because you can still see quite a lot of their players are not that high leveled or high ranked. They definitely have quite a bit further that they can go, and I like that because there's such a large capacity ahead of them for improvement on top of how well we've seen them play already. And I think Mango is pretty much the core to their success tonight, that from what we saw. So hopefully he can really get the team going for their next matches.
Yeah, I mean, Mango just, it wasn't just the boops. It was just, like you could say, just the speed boost and the aggression, just the flanking. He's really that Lucio that has no respect for anything. He just goes in, stays alive, does whatever he wants, and no one can really deal with him. And yeah, with that speed boost and even the healing aura at times, he just, just enables a lot. Even though FlawlessWins was probably the one that just kept everyone alive as well. So it was really that support duo, If they don't get dived, especially with Ana, if she doesn't get dived, and she just can heal everyone from range, especially at the maps with those long sightlines, there's just nothing you can really do. Like, she's just there, shooting. Lucio's just there booping you around, speeding everyone around. It's very well coordinated combination. That's something that you also see from more teams that have been together longer. That support and tank core is just everything you want. As long as they create space and apply healing or apply support, then your DPS is also has the freedom. So even DaWae and Hate just really showing that all the heroes they played, what they're capable of. I wouldn't say the sniper battles have been particularly interesting. Like, we saw a few, but there really weren't a lot of 1v1s going on. It was just a lot of the tanks just dive the snipers, or the supports even dive the snipers sometimes. So maybe that's something that teams will be doing more. But on the other hand, with the patches right now, I don't think it's really a sniper era anyways. So not too surprising on the other hand.
Yeah, sniper kind of becoming a little bit unfavored. But talking about just segue a little bit here, Mapo's self-destructs.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Those were just on point just about
They
every
really
single
were.
time.
And then we actually saw, I don't remember who it was. I think it was DaWae playing D.Va on Ilios Lighthouse at some point. And then you think, okay, so the self-destructs are coming out. Wait, why is it not hitting? Oh, it's not Mapo on D.Va. And that it makes a big difference. I mean, if you play D.Va a lot, you kind of at some point automatically know when no one has cooldowns, or automatically know the right angles to throw it at self-destructing, because I think you got one stuck on a roof at some point, and then sure, you throw out a nice self-destruct, but if it doesn't hit anyone, then I mean, why did you use it? And I think Mapo might have hit that one, but they had some good ones, and it's definitely all due to sensing or knowing or keeping track of when the enemy gets into certain positions without any movement cooldowns. Because they just really took advantage. Well, I mean, they took a lot of advantage in that sense of the Swiss team not playing as aggressive as they could have with dive. So they used a lot of cooldowns to engage, but they only engaged to the front line of Ghost of Pripyat, not to the back line. If you engage to the front line, then you can't get out, and they see the entire enemy team in the Ghost of Pripyat. They just throw the self-destruct behind them, and there's nowhere to run because they're not on their Ana in the backline, for instance.
Yeah. Have to agree with you there. And I mean, I think this is exactly where Swiss team can learn from it when they go forward and when they find their name.
Yeah, I mean that's also a journey, finding your name. I mean, a team I left at some point. They changed their name recently, and it's just like, it's a whole big deal, right? Branding is everything, they always say. But yeah, I mean, we had some fun scrims here. It's good games. Not as close as some others have been in the past, but still close enough to make it entertaining. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be winding it down a little bit here. I mean, we have the stream still up, of course, right now, but we're going to be closing it soon. Are there any shoutouts you want to do?
Apart from both of these teams, I'm gonna have to say, really, I want to see more of these teams in future, because I could see so much potential from both sides. So shout out to the teams, if anyone, and of course shout out to you in Scrim Central.
I mean, shout out to Papa Jeff as well, making this game great again.
Yeah, Papa Jeff.
I mean, hey, there's going to be Roadhook changes soon. Something we've been wishing for a long time. Roadhook, make the hog ride. I see people talking about flying pigs, so we know it might happen. No, but yeah, in honesty, I just love doing these casts all the time. Scrim Central is a great place to do it. We have a lovely community, always able to find teams, find scrims, get everyone online. On time. We just have to pop out an announcement and you get like 40 reactions. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely gonna be doing this more. I'm sorry if I haven't always got the right background on. I think on Gibraltar I missed like half the map of the attack because I just hadn't switched to the actual gameplay. Sorry about that. I'm also getting to grips with this. It's a lot to do at the same time. Switching scenes, talking, and, doing camera work. So I hope our production team gets back back quickly. On the other hand, this was another beautiful midweek clash with me, of course, man of class, and a new face on the cast, Cloudburst. I think you did a lovely job here. Of course, you can watch back the footage yourself. And judge. But yeah, I mean, you'll see more of us. That's it. We have our Twitters here on the screen, so you know if you wanna tweet us, DM us on Discord. It's also obviously possible. We're in the servers, so you can find us. And I think that's it for tonight. Really, I mean, we should be back on Monday, 7 BST. And there are some things coming up in where we have some things in the works always. So always check out our Twitters and our Discord servers. Just keeping up to date with all the news. Anyways, have a good night, and see you next time, guys.
Cool. Cheers.